And then Yuri walks away immediately. You got his cat still though, so.
Sorry, I need a drink.
Is he in a drink?
Yeah. Just bring us in, Cash. Go for it.
What's good, everyone? Welcome to the Demo Team Podcast. We're here with Brandon Ewing today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
It is a good day.
And we got Yuri too. How you doing, bro?
I'm alive. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I think we all are, right?
Today's better than the last couple of months have been, so I'm calling that a win.
So, Brandon, you are in two pretty. I mean, you were in two pretty awesome projects: Attorney Forever and Golden Necklace. And
he was the touring. You also, Brandon, was a touring member in Chan for like a long stretch of time. That's also really cool.
All right. I mean, fucking Sean was awesome, bro.
Yeah. I feel like nobody ever talks about that.
What did you say, Yuri?
I feel like no one ever talks about his time in Sean. At least not that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we start there, since I think we all have a little interest in Sean. We never had anyone from Sean on before. So, I mean, what was that like?
And that was a lot of fun. I grew up with those guys. I met them going to school. We both live in San Diego. Not both, we all live in San Diego. So I've just been friends with those guys for years. So when they had parted ways with Drew and were in need of a bass player for a little bit, it was kind of just like a natural thing that I would play with them, because we jammed together all the time anyways. Because like I said, we all grew up in San Diego and have been friends for years. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so like, you grew up in San Diego, and do you still live there now?
Yep, still live here now. Been here my whole life.
Hell yeah, dude! You're like my neighbor, because I live in Rosarito, Mexico, so that's like 20 minutes away from me if I can get through the border in less than an hour.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I sometimes forget how close I am to the border and how quickly I can get down to Mexico. It's funny.
Yeah, and if you're in a pinch, right, you just go.
Yeah, just hop down to the border real quick.
Right.
So you maintained your San Diego, I guess, living despite, I guess, so much of the scene going up to Sacramento.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've lived here my whole life. So the way I got kind of introduced to some of those guys in Sacramento, like Kurt, is actually from playing with Sean, funny enough. So
all right.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah. It's all that little West Coast scene. And
oh yeah, that and most runs and like tours and stuff in California, you can just like run along the coast, run along the whole state. It's just a big long line, so it's like you got to do that circuit. You start in San Diego, you go up to Sacramento, or you got the dudes coming up from San Diego that hit all the spots all the way down. So I mean, it's a pretty good run if you can get some good shows booked.
Oh, it's great how many shows you can play in California, because obviously the weather is incredible here. And
yeah,
it's my favorite place to play. The shows are always crazy in California, so it's always fun being able to do that stretch of like 5 or 6 shows in California.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Like, I would say, like, during the day, I'm glad there's not too many shows, because Warped Tour used to be a bitch in California. I would say the sunny summer heat was always not my favorite, but any venue show, it's always cool at night. It's always chill. There's like, not too much to worry about in California. You don't have tornadoes or 115-degree weather. There's always like a wind chill somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that people think is a worry here is earthquakes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've maybe felt like a handful of earthquakes in my entire life. And it's just like, a few seconds and it's done. So it's always funny when people are like, oh my gosh, you have earthquakes in California, right? It's like, not really.
When I lived in Chico, the one time I felt an earthquake, I didn't realize it was an earthquake. I just thought someone was drunk and fell downstairs. That was it.
That's basically what an earthquake feels like.
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, like, I'm from Texas, so we don't get earthquakes, but one time, like, when I was in high school, I was like in my room and like the house, like my house shake, and my mom came in and was like, "Did you feel that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, I don't know, like there was like a mini little earthquake there.
Hey,
Yeah, it's
literally,
weird.
like you're
But
standing
I
on
would, I
and
feel
some
like I feel like being afraid of tornadoes a lot, like where I am at, is a lot more natural than being afraid of earthquakes where y'all are at. So
oh yeah.
yeah,
I think definitely a more responsible fear. Like, well, living in California or just on the West Coast in general, I hear about the big one all the
the big
time.
one.
The big one. We're always worried about the big one, but like
When you
tornadoes
go into the ocean, you slide off the face of the earth.
fall in, but like definitely tornadoes are a lot more scary. I would say that that's a lot more respectable thing. 'Cause
Those
I
aren't
think
even that bad, honestly.
kind of like
I
brand
mean,
car, it's a tornado.
I've
So-
never been around a tornado, but it seems terrifying.
Without a doubt.
Not that bad. If you're in the
Not-
city, they don't really hit you. They're more of a country thing because it's just. But if you're in
I
the
mean-
country, I think you'd be scared though. But
There's
you
that
know
one
what?
that ripped through downtown Nashville. What was it, a year or two ago?
Yeah, and like there's one that hit Dallas a couple years ago, like not downtown Dallas, but like in a suburb of Dallas. So it's like, but like that's pretty rare. Even though that's been happening more recently. But I mean, weather phenomena aside, I guess let's just go straight back to your origins. Like, how did you first get into music?
I mean, luckily for me, my family is all pretty music oriented. My dad has been playing drums since he was a kid. So me and my older brother in particular have basically been playing music our whole lives. I picked up guitar when I was 10 years old, partially from watching the movie School of Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a
naturally.
classic. I'm sure that made a lot of people want to pick up a guitar.
pretty much that and Guitar Hero, right?
And Guitar Hero for sure. But yeah, that's kind of where it got its start. And like I said, there's already guitars and drums and pianos around my house, so it was kind of an easy thing for me to jump into.
And you get like that artist mentality too, I guess, having your parents be into it. Like they kind of teach you how the right mindset to have about like getting good at your instrument. So
Yeah, for sure. My dad, it was funny with him. This is the first thing that always comes to mind with my dad as far as like, teaching me the road of a musician. Like most kids when they first start off playing music, I was playing lots of like rock and metal stuff. And my dad, he played music in the 80s. So but his one word of advice for me always was, you guys need to just write a ballad. Chicks love ballads. Which is funny because back then I was just wanting to be like, no, I just want to play heavy, fast music, and now I play like really chill R&B type music. So it's kind of funny that I ended up playing the music I play now when
I remember
that was what my dad was telling me all the time.
I was gonna say, I remember like a few years ago, I think it's 2017, you had put like a little ditty out as like a lullaby or something. That was the name. I remember reading the tab for that. That was really fun to learn. That was a very, very relaxed piece.
Yeah, that's actually the outro little track to the Gold Necklace album. That's what it turned into.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've checked it out, but Kurt sings
did.
over that, which is pretty crazy because it's
I
got a lot going on.
Need to check that out again. I don't think I caught that.
Yeah, it came out really cool. It's just almost a little like outro interlude thing, but yeah, I'm stoked with how it ended up becoming part of the album.
I'm stoked you guys
Okay.
have that project. That's really cool that you guys are still writing together.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we would have been writing together for the past few years that we weren't really doing anything, but it's good to finally be back and writing new music and touring, and it's a lot of fun. There's not a lot of people who can write vocals over the weird stuff I play on guitar, so it's really cool to be playing with them.
Yeah, Kurt.
Oh,
That's definitely like a Kurt gift right there, is being able to like sing over those noodly ass riffs, man.
The dude's a freaking unicorn. He can sing over anything.
Yeah, it's crazy. All of my music before Kurt was more so instrumental, not because I wanted to play instrumental music. It is mainly because
How
I
the hell
had
do you
to,
think of this?
what was that?
It was just like, how the hell do you sing of this?
Yeah, exactly. I had different bands in the past, and we kind of never were able to, get off the ground because we would find some guy who was a great singer, link up with him, and then every time he tried to write over what I was playing, he would just get frustrated and end up quitting the band. Uh, so yeah, Kurt has been the only person I've been able to find who could actually write catchy, interesting, melodies and lyrics over what I'm playing and make it fit, not like someone singing over like instrumental guitar music. And I don't know how he does it. It's pretty crazy.
Little talented little spitfire right there, man. I don't know how to do it either. It's a gift, man. Maybe it's a learned behavior, possibly.
Learned behavior.
I mean, honestly, it might be. I mean, it seems like he's kind of developed that over the last 10, 15 years. So
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a good working relationship as well. Because I believe I've seen you play in Kurt's backing band when he goes on solo tours. I think it was Kurt Travis and the Full Beans. That was always cool. It's always cool to see that you guys, like, not only do you work on your own like Gold Necklace, but you do like the solo tours as well. It seems like a good beneficial working relationship between y'all.
Yeah, I've played on a couple solo things with him. Mostly that Hail the Sun tour, which was kind of a Kurt solo tour, but the reason for that tour was really to launch Gold Necklace, but we weren't ready to launch the band ahead of time before that tour, so we kind of just had to build as Kurt Travis.
Yeah.
And the first night of that tour is when we debuted our first single and played some Gold Necklace songs and essentially announced the world of the band to the world. So yeah, that was really cool. We also got to play a couple Kurt solo songs on that tour, which was fun.
Yeah, definitely. I've enjoyed every tour that, like, I managed to catch you on, just because it's always like it's a good vibe, and like the festivities are always at the maximum. Then we get like cool memes, because I don't know, we had that one incident where Kurt had to kind of like regulate on somebody in the crowd. And
oh man, that was crazy. Did you guys hear much about that, or do you want to hear what happened?
I mean, I believe we've had Kurt tell us what happened on that, but I know
that was like 2 years ago, right? We can recap if you want.
No, this was just in October of this last year.
Oh.
Yeah, so maybe this is a different incident that you guys are thinking of with Kurt.
Oh no, I've talked to Kurt in person about it. My bad. I meant to.
Got it.
Yeah, I was like, well, we had him on too. We interviewed him 2 years ago, and so I was like, did he talk about it then? I was like, well, but yeah, I think Ryan got the scoop right. So.
Oh yeah, I saw him when he played with Scary Kids, and
cool.
It's real life and the internet. It gets all melted together sometimes, but I'm sure I'm sure anyone who isn't like familiar would love to hear this story from Brandon's point of view.
Yeah, for all of you people who have just seen like the memes of me and Kurt as Dragon Ball Z characters.
I made those, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's so funny. I had no idea. Those are hilarious. But
bro, you make them awesome Piccolo, by the way. You were very
yeah, that was a perfect character for me. Great call on that.
Awesome.
But anyway, so what happened is, obviously, for all you guys who are familiar with our music, we play really, chill kind of R&B type stuff. And there was this guy, like, first song in, who was just totally crowd killing and just, smashing into everyone and kind of ruining the whole vibe for everyone. So after a couple songs in, Kurt kind of, points him out. He's like, hey, dude, can you just like, kind of relax a bit and just chill out? And then from that point on, after every song, he was just yelling, "Fuck you guys," flipping us off, screaming out at us. And so a couple songs of that, Kurt's like, dude, like, I'm so sorry if I offended you in any way. Like, let's talk after the show and figure it out. I'm just trying to make sure everyone's having a good time. And then he starts taking off his backpack and charging the stage, like he's gonna try to get on stage and fight Kurt. And so Kurt, that's when I think there's a video out there where Kurt's like, "You want to come up here and fucking fight me?" And then yeah, it's pretty funny. Then our sound guy runs down and security runs down, and after the show, it's funny, a bunch of people came up to us and were like, "Dude, I'm so glad you said something," and that guy ended up getting kicked out because he was just completely ruining the show for everybody. And everyone started cheering when security dragged him out, which is pretty funny. I don't understand why he got so mad that we were asking him to chill out and quit ruining the night for everyone else in the crowd, but yeah, he got pretty offended by that and tried to get up on stage and fight Kurt. And yeah, that's basically the story.
My favorite thing about this is like when I first heard this story, and I only saw like one side of the perspective because I had only seen the one video. And I was like, dang, this dude must have been humongous, like 6 foot, 7 foot, like made a big hulking dude. And then I saw other video, and the dude's like a tiny guy, real skinny, long stringy hair, looks kind of bummy, and like security was able to pick him up hella quick. And it was just like Kurt would have like, I know Kurt's like a violent man, because I've had people come on the show being like, I've never seen Kurt angry like that ever. But I'm just like, if anyone was going to win that fight, I was just like, Kurt would probably win that fight because that dude was tiny.
Oh, I mean, for sure. And I think, if anything was to happen and security wouldn't have got to him before he tried to get up on stage, like I said, everyone was pissed at that guy. It would have just been like so many people jumping in, just clobbering this guy. It would have been ridiculous.
And it's like, I'm not a huge on crowd killing myself. I don't see the big deal. Like, if you want to mosh in the mosh pit, mosh with the other guys that want to mosh with you, but it's a Kurt Travis show. It's like ladies are trying to fight, dudes are just chilling and like, riding their fucking buzz off their beer, or they smoked a blunt beforehand. It's just like, read the room, man. Read the room.
Exactly. Everyone was just, vibing, dancing, having a good time. And this guy's trying to, start a pit or something to R&B music. It was interesting.
I mean, I think if there's other people willing to do it, would be kind of funny, but like, yeah, you gotta like read the room for sure.
Oh, for sure. Like
yeah,
like when I was playing with Chon, that's obviously not typical mosh pit music, but for some reason at almost every show there was like a pit the whole show, which was hilarious. People moshing to like Perfect Pillow or something like that.
Hey, that second half,
I would totally do it
off.
if there's a pit, man.
If the vibe calls for it, I'm gonna do it. But
exactly.
I try to be peaceful pacifist at shows. That's like I came here, I spent money, I have a beer in my hand, I'm trying to spill it.
I mean, I don't want to be sore the next day, but I mean, you can kind of like regulate how much you mosh. But also, when I went to So What, someone elbowed me in the fucking ear, and it pissed me off so much that I just like was done moshing for the rest of the weekend.
Oh, no.
During some 41, some guy just hardcore dancing, just like fucking like kicks my ass, and I'm just like, fuck, I was so close to like punching that dude. I was like, I can't do it. I'm done. But
tell us what song it was. Was it Still Waiting? Was it?
I mean, no, I don't remember what song it was. It wasn't one of their big songs. It was like,
yeah, you couldn't get your ass kicked to a
popular. It wasn't Fat Lip.
It wasn't Fat Lip. Fat, because I mean, that was like everyone was so close together during Fat Lip, like in the pit. It didn't really matter, but like, no, it was like off. What was that album with the skull on it?
Yeah,
I think that was like the.
That's the one.
18 album. That was a newer one.
What was it?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the newer ones,
like
but
13 Voices or something like that.
Let me look it up real quick.
At some 41 lore.
Pretty much. Order and Decline, something from that is what I got. Like, get my ass kicked too. But
That's like
speaking
disappointing.
of,
Like if you were motivated by like an old classic, I get it. Like you'd have the adrenaline, but it's like
no, it's just some dude just like standing by himself, and I'm like backing away from the mosh, and I get like hit in the fucking side of the head, like in the ear, and I'm like, fuck, man, like that shit hurt. But I'm like almost, But speaking of moshing music, Brandon, you were talking about like starting off like in like playing metal, so I was kind of wondering like what were you like jamming to back in the day?
Oh man, like at the beginning, this is gonna sound completely
Yeah.
out of left field considering the
Well, I mean,
music
that's why I want
now.
to hear it, because it just sounds, because compared to what you're playing now, it kind of sounds really interesting to hear what you started off on.
I used to, my favorite band when I was younger was probably Slayer, which is probably
kind of
like
hear it, I think, a little bit.
I was like, whenever I tell people that, they're like, what? Like how? But I wish I had something ready, like the screen share, because I totally had like the long hair and wore like the denim vest and tight pants
like
and high top
Eddie
shoes.
Munson?
Exactly like Eddie Munson. I used to dress exactly like Eddie Munson. That's so funny that there's like a pop culture like representation of how I used to dress as like a young kid and a teenager. It's so funny because I was still like I said, a little kid. So I totally had a baby face and I had this long hair and would get, confused for a girl all the time at restaurants and would get so upset when like a waitress would come up to me and would call me ma'am. It's pretty funny.
I always think like the funniest thing to do when someone calls you that is to just speak.
Just speak.
Watch their eyes go bright wide. Like, oh, sorry. It's like, that's fine.
It was probably hard for them to tell. I was like 11 years old.
Had
a high pitched voice.
Difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, you were rocking the Eddie Munson 11. That's pretty hardcore, honestly.
Yeah,
You Eddie Munson before Eddie Munson was cool.
Exactly. I dressed like that when it was weird to dress like that. No, it's probably cool to dress like that. But
yeah, it kind of is probably. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of got into that stuff because when I was a kid, my dad, like I said, he was a drummer, so he was more into like the 80s thing. Played like lots of Van Halen and Def Leppard and Motley Crue and stuff like that, and some Metallica. So I listened to that since I was like a toddler.
I mean,
so it's kind of the natural progression of, what's heavier than this?
Exactly. I mean, like I think that's the same here with me and Ryan. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Kind of the classics right there.
Yeah. I mean, where I grew up in like San Bernardino, like Rialto, and they had this thing on 96.7 called Mandatory Metallica every night.
I think we had that too here in Dallas. In fact, they still have it, I'm pretty sure.
It's hilarious. I also had that in San Diego. They must have just had that everywhere.
The iHeart radioification of radio stations, right? Even before it happens.
I think there needs to come there needs to be a radio station that just has mandatory gold necklace. I think that would be the.
Hell
yeah. We're gonna get a pirate radio station going, right?
Yeah, a blue just a.
That'd be very successful in the year 2022. Is everyone still listening to FM radio?
I think we get a Sirius XM station for Swanee boys. I mean,
or what if we put it on AM radio? We made it all crackly, like it's like from the 40s.
I think that'd be the only way to get past like copyright, probably, because we like mess with the audio so much that it just gets, because like the wavelengths for AM are so massive, it just creates all that distortion.
You barely make out what's being played. That's how you get around the copyright infringement.
You just hear static, weedly, weedly, static, weedly, weedly, screen, static.
I
like it. I'm ready for this. This radio station.
You go back to college and get on the radio station and have like a progressive post-hardcore like hour or something.
All day. That's what I want.
All day, yeah.
Everyone needs the noodles in their brain.
Cash's Weedly, I don't know. What's something that starts with W? The
Whopper
Weekend. Weedly Weekend.
I like it.
Yeah. So when you first meet the Sean guys, are y'all all jamming like Slayer and Metallica? Like,
I mean, not quite. I didn't meet them until I was probably like 14 or 15.
okay,
And at that point, I was kind of slowly, phasing my way out of that. One metal band that we did bond over and play and really like was a band called Necrophagus.
all
I don't know
right.
if any of you guys are
Right.
familiar with that, but yeah, that's still to this day one of my favorite bands of all time, which again is probably no one would expect that because just like super gnarly technical death metal, but they're just insane. They're definitely a huge influence on me as a guitar player for sure. And they were all really into them as well. So yeah, back in the early days, that's kind of shared a bit of a bond over Necrophagus.
Necrophage. All right. So if you ever talk to Sean, we'll ask about necrophages. So like, what influenced you from them? Like,
Necrophagus?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know how familiar any of you guys with are, but just their
not very
sense
familiar.
of guitar harmony and just straight up technical ability and is just,
All
in
right.
my opinion, unparalleled. And I've never heard another metal band do it. I don't know if you guys listen to much of like the early Chon demos, but imagine just a metal version of that. I feel like early Chon was basically just like a major key, chiller sounding version of Necrophagus, but instrumental.
I think one question I have from all of this is like, when are you going to do, like, as you're associated with like Sean, Eternity Forever, a Golden Necklace, like when are you going to do like a brutal technical death like metal band?
Oh man. I mean, me and some of my friends have like joked around about it. And I have a bunch of friends who still, are playing in technical death metal bands. And my joke is always to be that we should start like a tech death metal band, but play strictly clean tone. No distortion on it at all. That would just be so funny.
Oh man, that would
So
that
maybe
would
one day
be
that'll
pretty
happen.
fucking awesome, man.
I feel like that's not that far off from some of the stuff you're already doing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I doubt any of you guys saw this, but my friend Justin McKinney, he used to play in the band The Faceless and plays in the band The Zenith Passage, posted a video of us playing a Necrophagus song on just like, not even just a clean tone. We were just plugged straight into like an interface. So just straight up DI guitar tone. And we were playing like technical death metal stuff and it just sounded ridiculous. I have to go try to dig up that video from like my archive story post. It was hilarious. But yeah, maybe one day I'll start a technical death metal band that only plays clean tone. Who knows?
Dude, if you have vocals, I screamo guys sometimes.
You screamo guys sometimes. So you ruin it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I ruin it.
Ruin it, yeah.
Constant. It's an ever constant like battle between like trying not to ruin it, but most likely ending up
Just
ruining
ruining it.
my job. I gotta.
You know what's funny? I think all those like Dance Gavin Dance Screamo Guy memes came out when they were touring with Sean, which is
That
hilarious.
actually sounds about right. Yeah.
That's like the robot versus
The Chonzilla tour.
Exactly. Yeah, it came out from that because a bunch of people came out to see chill instrumental music and weren't necessarily familiar with Dance Gavin Dance. And then when they started playing, they're like, oh, this is kind of in the same vein, as Sean. And then John Mess started doing his thing. They're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Basically, what John Mess does is just like, I wouldn't say ruin it, but I mean,
not at all.
Got like an airplane engine with like a buzzsaw like delivery. It's just like that boy goes hard as fuck. So I can see how some people would be like, oh, this is intense.
Well, it's so strange because like I've noticed the way Chris mixes them. Like John kind of goes the same way as the guitars do. He's not as dominant as the clean singer Dujour's vocals. So I think he kind of fits nicely in there.
He's almost like like a texture to the music and not necessarily like
Yeah.
full-on lead element, like
Right. And
Tillian's.
that I think is probably why he does like such ridiculous, off the wall lyrics too. Because like he's not there for a vocalist, he's there to be ferocious.
Yeah, just an added flavor to the band, to the music, for sure.
I feel like he's like that, like he's the dance and the sauce of Dance Gavin Dance. You know what I mean? Like he that
So he's
flavor.
on
That
both sides of the Gavin.
Big Mac. It's a Big Mac because the sauce is there, and if John Mess isn't there, you're filled with happiness, sure.
No,
But-
that would mean he would be the buns if he's the dance, bro.
Very I mean, you could put sauce. You could put sauce on both buns.
Sounds kind of kinky there.
A little bit.
A little bit. But I mean, if you read John's lyrics, I think that's on the point, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone through and read his lyrics, but occasionally when I'll hear their stuff, I'll just like pick up a few words and just be like, what is going on?
What?
Like, what are they talking about?
Like what?
Smoking weed out of what?
Like you think you're getting something really profound and really actually making sense from him, and then it turns out it's like about World of Warcraft or something.
Which that is also awesome. I love, some goofy lyrics and music to make things fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys will listen to much of the Gold Necklace stuff, but it's not always the most serious stuff all the time.
Just
But I
kind of
think makes it
serious
fun.
sounding, but not the yeah.
Well, I mean, I've always held that like if you're not making music that you have fun making, then why are you making the music? So
For sure. Yeah, when Kurt and I were writing the Gold Necklace stuff, when he was writing lyrics and melodies and everything, I mean, we were just like laughing the whole time, and it was at points hard to make things serious enough and not just make things like completely goofy and stupid. So, you got to have a good time when you're making the music, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Totally
like that.
agree.
It's like that great old like quote from what is it? This is Spinal Tap. It's a fine line between stupid and clever.
Exactly. Exactly.
You gotta like, I mean, you want your music to be respectable, but at the same time, it's like sometimes the most rememberable, catchy stuff is just like stuff that you're like shooting the shit with the boys, and you come up with some weird, catchy little catchphrase or something. And it's just like, wow, that's stupid, but it's just smart enough to stay in the song.
Exactly. Like a lyric that comes to mind from the Gold Necklace album is, I don't remember the exact line, but Kurt's talking about something about a girl having a shake in a quarter pound. It's in the song just the right way in the verse. It's pretty ridiculous, but I mean, it's fun and not too stupid that people don't take us seriously. So it's a good time.
That's definitely one thing Kurt's always had to his advantage, is like a definite playfulness to his vocals, where like his lyrics where there's just like, this is Kurt just like joshing around with you, a little elbow to the chest,
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I love it. Like I said, I enjoy having fun with music and not taking myself too seriously. So
Yeah.
it's always a fun time and a fun dynamic whenever Kurt and I are writing new music.
Nice. So, like, we've talked about Gold Necklace, we talked about Sean a little bit. I feel like one project that got like a lot of people on your radar, paying attention to you, would be Eternity Forever, which I was fortunate enough to see you and Kurt when you guys did a solo tour together. You guys closed the show out with Fantasy, which I think that was probably the first Eternity Forever song I ever heard, which was Fantasy, which has those playful lyrics. But like, how did you like come about going with Eternity Forever? Like, how'd that project come about?
That project came about, it was after I had done a handful of tours with Sean and finished out, filling in for them, and was wanting to do, something new. I was originally wanting to record a solo album and potentially just get some guest vocalists for it. And I had met Ben on one of the Tron tours because Strawberry Girls was opening up. So I asked him, I was like, hey, can you record a solo album for me? And I drove up there. He was living in Carmel, and we were brainstorming some guest vocalists that I could use for, a solo album for me. And he was like, oh, I'm friends with Kurt. Maybe I can ask him if he'd be interested. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And so we sent him, I think it was just the guitars for Fantasy because I was in the middle of guitar tracking. Not in the middle, I just started guitar tracking. I think I just finished tracking for Fantasy, and that's literally all there was. I sent him just strictly guitar for Fantasy, and then he got back to us. He's like, hey, I don't want to just be a guest vocalist on this. Like, I want to start a band out of this. And so that's what we did. We turned what was originally going to be just a solo project thing with some guest vocalists into a band, and that's how Eternity Forever came to be.
Nice. I always enjoyed that band. I always found like that was a good collaboration between the three of y'all. Like there's like a very good vibe, and I'm glad that with Gold Necklace you guys are keeping that going, like that vibe with me vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Gold Necklace is it's just Eternity Forever with good vibes only, is like I like to call it.
That's the best way to put it, you know?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt, man. And it's just like it's cool that you guys still I was surprised as fuck because like when Kurt's just doing a soul tour, you guys played Fantasy. So it's cool that you guys can still like, respect the past and like bring out like those old tools out the toolbox to show off and
Take those old records off the shelf.
there you go. Hey.
Well, I mean, I wrote the music to those songs, and obviously Kurt wrote all the melodies and the lyrics to it, and so it's basically the same thing as Gold Necklace, and we have no plans on retiring the songs. Like we just played a Family Vacation Fest up near Sacramento, and we played all 4 of those songs there. So we have no intention of stopping playing those songs because how we see it, Gold Necklace is basically Eternity Forever, just with a new name for logistical reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
For all the vibes.
Yeah, for all the good vibes. It's like I said,
Vibes, yeah.
Yeah.
only good vibes with this project. It's been nothing but a good time and fun.
I was
Playing
always
with just me
curious,
and Kurt.
I was always curious where the name Gold Necklace specifically came from.
Funny you mentioned that. So when me and Kurt and Ben were all thinking of a name, which eventually became Eternity Forever for that project. One of the names that got thrown out from Kurt actually was Necklace. And I thought that was just like a kind of goofy, funny name, but also kind of sexy. And we play kind of sexy music, it's a sexy piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
And so when we decided we wanted to pick things up again and basically continue that project, but obviously, like I said, we had to do it under a new name. And we were kind of going back, we're like, oh, what were some of the names we were also in the running before Eternity Forever became Eternity Forever? And that was one of them that got brought up, but that name was taken. And so we started playing around with throwing words before that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I have a thing for white and gold guitars. Literally almost all my guitars are white and gold. So I was like, how about Gold Necklace? And Kurt was like, yes, that's amazing. Like, that's it.
Reminds me of 2 Chainz a little bit.
Like 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
Like-
that was like I was what I was always thinking of when I first heard it. I was like, kind of reminds me of 2 Chainz.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's supposed to be kind of like a almost funny, playful thing, but also like we're playing
Kind of sexy, yeah.
Like kind of smooth, sexy sounding music. So it's like fun and playful, but also sexy sounding at the same time. And so, that's how we ended up settling on that.
Definitely a good R&B name for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we thought it was a good fit for our music. That was I feel like that was a later thing that we decided on. We had most of the album, written and somewhat recorded before we had to come up with a band name. We thought that was a good fit for the music we had made, and that's the one that stuck.
All right.
Yeah.
So like when when did like all the gold necklace stuff like start like coming together?
It started coming together at the very beginning of 2021. So obviously there is that bit of a gap between Eternity Forever and Gold Necklace, where Kurt and I weren't really doing anything, and it was nothing really personal to do between me and Kurt. But I don't know if you guys ever heard anything about this, but Eternity Forever just like ended so badly and was such like a horrible experience. I just was trying to distance myself from that, and from that almost took like a couple year break from even making much music. And then it was really once the pandemic hit, I was like, this is ridiculous that I'm not making music with Kurt because of a horrible experience from someone else that was just in a project that Kurt and I were with. And I reached out to him probably the end of 2020 and was like, dude, like, I think it's time. Like, we need to get back together and start making some music again. And he had hit me up a few times throughout the years, wanting to do that. But like I said, I just had like such a horrible experience with how that past project had ended. It was nothing to do with Kurt, but I was just like wanting to distance myself away from all that stuff at the time. But yeah, I feel like the pandemic hitting, I realized that it was ridiculous for me doing that, and that Kurt and I were essentially made to be making music together. Like I said, I've never met anyone else who's able to write catchy hooks over the stupid stuff that I'm playing on guitar. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was, it's just been a blast ever since then. Early 2021, I flew up to his place and we started working on it, and things just clicked and moved super quick. And a few months in, we had a whole album. And yeah, it was a really fun experience.
All right.
I'm glad
So
it
that
all
was like
worked.
early 2021, because I remember we had him on like around, I guess, February in 2021, and he like kind of like hinted that he had something in the works. So
it's funny when I saw that you guys had reached out to me to do this podcast. I like looked up a couple of years of podcasts, just like check some out, and Kurt was the first one to pop up, and I clicked on it and watched a little bit of it. And yeah, I heard him hinting at it a little bit, and that was, I think that was right after our first writing session we had. So yeah, things were still under wraps at that point, but yeah, we were already writing the Gold Necklace album.
He's good at keeping secrets. We tried to like squeeze some secrets.
Yeah, we were trying. I mean, maybe. I mean, like, I guess y'all didn't have a name quite yet, so it was like kind of hard to just talk about it without being able to like label it, I guess, maybe. But the same time, I mean, he's probably.
I was gonna say that, and you guys like were working with Kill Iconic and like being able to announce it on that Hail the Sun tour, because like Donovan is like the mastermind behind Kill Iconic. Was that kind of like one of the reasons why you guys had to like announce it like mid-tour, like for a while, just while Kill Iconic was getting its like foundation set up?
I mean, partially. And while they were, getting their foundation set up as, a label, and Donovan was developing that whole thing, was actually when we were recording the album. So I mean, that time just kind of worked out. Perfect timing for the both of us to kind of announce the band, and that tour was the perfect timing to kickstart the band. And yeah, it just kind of worked out like that. It wasn't necessarily like us, we were holding it back. I mean, I guess we could have announced it sooner, but literally our first single, Vibe With Me, finished getting mixed, I think, a few days before the tour started, when we announced the band's existence and everything. So it was just kind of perfect timing that worked out between us and Kill Iconic.
Oh yeah. And yeah, are you enjoying your experience so far on at Kill Iconic? They taking care of you, putting you on playlists?
Oh, it's been great. It's insane how hardworking Donovan is. He's one of the most hardworking people I've ever met in my life, because not only is he the head of the label that we're on, he is also works for Sound Talent Group, which is a booking agency that we are also on, and Donovan is our booking agent on that booking agency. and all the bands he's in and the magazine. Like that guy is just going nonstop. Like being on tour with him, he's literally working like up until like the minute before he goes on stage. And I've even seen him like when he hops down before the encore, him just like running backstage and like answering some emails and then getting back up on stage and finishing the Hail the Sunset. It's crazy how hardworking that guy is. And he's even with all those projects going on, he always made sure Kurt and I were taken care of. It made things really easy for us to get this album done and get this band launched.
Oh yeah. Donovan's like a definite, like we've had tons of people on the show and he's always spoken of highly. He's like, he seems to be like an adhesive that keeps a lot of like the people going out here, just like helping them get shows or just getting featured in a magazine or just like signing to the label or hell, even doing like a tour with them. It's just like, God bless that guy. That guy's he keeping shit going.
Oh yeah. I don't know where he gets that, so much energy and work ethic from. If I did half the work he did, I would just be, dead and so exhausted all the time. But he's so like high energy and peppy and ready to go. I don't know where he gets it from, but I mean, I'm happy he is the way he is. He's awesome.
That's a man who loves what he does.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I don't know how he does it, but yeah, like you said, he has to love what he does to be able to do what he does.
Oh yeah, like everything I've ever heard of him, like I've met him like a handful of times. Like I met him at 1720 in Los Angeles like twice. Always real pleasant, real kind. But like one thing I always hear about him is he always has his hands in many pots and like the casting many nets and always just stay busy. And it's just like damn, like if anybody listening, if you want to like get somewhere in the music industry, having that kind of work ethic to just be constantly constant, I mean that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I mean,
Constantly constant. That should be a bad name.
constantly constant.
A technical death metal clean tone band.
Constantly, constantly.
There you go. We got it. I mean, it has to happen now,
everyone
right?
would get confused for everything. Everyone would get confused for no, not constant, and that just kind of loops back around to Kurt. So
Yeah, that could get confusing for sure. But who knows? Maybe Kurt will sing clean vocals over clean tone technical death metal music. Who knows?
That I think
Why
that
not-
would
why
be
not
Really
have Kurt,
brutal
like,
but clean lyrics.
exclusively like scream those rap vocals he does, like exclusively. That's just the entire project.
I mean, I will say I didn't know, like I knew like with 5 Minute Ride, Kurt did a little screaming and stuff, but when I saw him play with Scary Kids, the fact that the dude was like hardcore, just being like, distortion, full distortion, it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
book. So I mean, you're constant death metal clean tone band, Brandon. It could have Kurt screaming. I mean, you never know.
Or it could maybe be like, have you guys seen any of those videos where it's like Cannibal Corpse but Radio Disney? Like someone take a Cannibal Corpse song and make it sound like a Radio Disney song. It'd almost be funny for us to do that, but write original songs that just sounds like Radio Disney death metal
Yeah.
from the get-go.
You could be Necklace Gold.
Like you need at least one song that's like there are no guitars. It's just piano panned left and right, just smashing on all the keys.
It's like, have you guys heard of the piano player Tigran Hamasyan?
I think I actually might have, but
he has some stuff that I mean, like I said, he's a piano player. His group is usually just a trio, just piano, bass, and drums. But he has some stuff on piano that's just so heavy sounding. I mean, it's almost like Meshuggah-esque, and it's like polyrhythmic nature. But I've never heard a piano sound so heavy, which is kind of like ironic to say that a piano can sound heavy, but that guy makes a piano sound heavy. So, I mean, it's not impossible to do.
And there's that one Muse song, Space Dementia, that was heavy, and there were no guitars whatsoever in that one. It was all piano.
I don't know if I've heard that song. I might have to go check it out now.
It was back in like Origin of Symmetry, which is like the only album anyone remembers from them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Muse, but I'll go check it out for sure.
I think it's a shining example of heavy piano.
Heavy piano. I can always go for some heavy piano, so you've piqued my interest for sure.
A steel piano, just it's heavy as fuck.
Are you gonna get a heavy piano player soon?
Yeah, that's the next piece to the band.
Next one, all right.
The heavy piano player with the clean death metal guitar tones.
So
They don't actually play with their hands, they just smash their face on the keys the entire song.
Obviously, they have to be a guitar player too, right?
Oh man, there's nothing more
clean
metal
guitar.
than a guitar player.
Really, there is nothing.
I mean, like if you think about it, like if it has a clean tone, if it has like a dirty kind of like distortion tone, would that be a harsh pianist?
A harsh pianist.
You got harsh vocalist, harsh pianist. Like, I mean, it's heavy. I mean, it makes sense to me. Piano guy. Jesus Christ.
Now this makes me want to hear, because obviously we've heard synths that are somewhat like distorted sounding, but I want to hear just like a straight up piano mic'd up, like ran through like a high gain amp or something like that. I feel like that sounds so ridiculous, but
I feel like
Run a
I've
freaking piano
definitely
through an
done
orange.
that before. Like plugged a piano into just like a guitar amp or something.
yeah, just like a straight up like acoustic piano, just mic'd up, plugged
Yeah.
in through like a PV6505 or something like that. Something
Mhm.
super ridiculous.
Gotta get like an SM58, take it to a grand piano, and then just run that through a freaking orange.
That could be really cool. I've
That
never
would
heard
either
that
sound
before.
really amazing, or it sound like an angry beehive. I'm here for either.
Yeah, it could be really cool or sound really bad and be really stupid. It's not anywhere in between. It's only one of the two.
Right. I'm here for either, honestly.
So I guess one of us has to try it now and see for ourselves. You know what? There has to be a video on YouTube of this
I mean,
happening.
I think people just like will throw shit together when they don't have very many like options. So like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of videos of people plugging their pianos into guitar amps.
I
So
will say, I have one song that has a piano line that's like it's still run through the piano, but I ran it through Neural DSP, one of my plugins. Archetype, either Pliny or Tim Henson, I forget which, and that sounds cool, but sounds horrifying. So this might
That's
just be
awesome.
like the Pokemon next evolution of that.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, segueing from the Neural DSP archetype things, I don't know if this is like very public, but the entire Gold Necklace album is Neural DSP Pliny, which is
Yes.
which is crazy that technology has gotten to the point where computer plugin just sounds so good. You can record an entire album and it sounds amazing.
I mean, that's,
And it made things so easy for me because I recorded all the guitars and bass at my house for that album. So I mean, it was just insane being able to get that good of guitar tones with just a freaking plugin.
I was gonna say, you got one of these things, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's basically all you need, right?
Get them cleans.
Exactly. But yeah, that Pliny plugin just has some of the most unbelievable clean tones I've ever heard, and was definitely a no-brainer when figuring out what the tone was going to be for the Gold Necklace album. It just sounded so good with that. I had no reason to want to, look into reamping or anything like that.
Nice, dude. So like, what were like, you gave us some surprising like influences growing up, but like when making the Gold Necklace album, what were like some music like influences? What were you listening to? What were some things that kind of give you that vibe?
Well, another one of my biggest influences ever is John Mayer. So I mean, that one is definitely more in the realm of what I play on the Gold Necklace album. Definitely
John
much
Mayer's
more
cool. I've been
than
jamming him a lot too lately.
Oh yeah, he's incredible. He's one of my favorite guitar players ever, and also one of the reasons why I picked up a guitar in the first place. I saw John Mayer playing. It was on like the VMAs or something like that, some like award show. It was him playing just acoustic the song "Daughters" by himself, and it was all for some reason they made the decision to make his performance in black and white. I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, I was asking my parents, who is this guy? Like, is this like an old performance from like the 60s or something like that? I was just a little kid. And they're like, no, this is John Mayer. It's just in black and white. And I was just like so, fascinated with the sound of that. And I mean, if you go back and listen to the song Daughters, there's lots of, 7 chords and inversions and stuff, very similar to what I play now. And even though, I went through my whole rock and metal phase pretty quick, when I first started playing guitar, that was one of the things that made me want to pick up a guitar and eventually made its way back into my guitar playing.
Constantly, right?
Exactly. So John Mayer is a big influence. Piano player named Robert Glasper is, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he's like he started his career as kind of like a solo jazz pianist, and then started making like R&B albums where he'd get a bunch of guest vocalists on it. And that's kind of what, got me into R&B music. It's probably when I was like 17 or 18. At that point, I kind of, taken more roots in like progressive guitar music and wasn't necessarily playing metal at that point. But once I heard Robert Glasper's album, Black Radio, which is an incredible album. If you guys haven't heard it, I definitely recommend you go listen to it. That's kind of what drew me into R&B in general, and just made me want to, make that style of music. And it's been a huge influence of mine for the past 10 years of my guitar playing. It definitely was a huge influence on the Gold Necklace album. And probably another one of my biggest influence is the guitarist named Alan Holdsworth. He is another big influence on why I play the type of music I play now. I actually heard him for the first time when I was probably 14. Just a little metal kid with my long hair and my denim vest on. And I heard a song from him called Protocosmos, and it just completely blew my mind. I had no idea a guitar could sound like that or be played like that. And that's definitely what, made me get into jazz guitar playing. I think shortly after that, I started taking jazz guitar lessons. And my first lesson with my teacher, he was like, oh, so what are you wanting to learn? Like, what type of stuff are you wanting to play? I was like, I want to play like Alan Holdsworth. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him very much, but in my opinion, he's probably the greatest guitarist that's ever lived, and plays things that no one will ever be able to play. And my guitar teacher is like, okay, yeah, let's start with, something else first. Like slow down there. But as soon as I heard him play, like I was like, I want to play like this guy. But I obviously still can't play like that guy. No one can play like him.
Could your guitar teacher play like him, or
no? I mean, like I said, no one can play like him. No one will ever be able to play like him. He's incredible. He was even like a huge influence on guys like Eddie Van Halen and Steve Vai. I mean, so many guitar like icons and heroes who don't necessarily play anything jazzy or fusion or anything like that, but there's plenty of interviews out there when people asking who their influences are, and Alan Holdsworth is the biggest influence for a lot of these guys. But they all say the same thing, like no one can ever play like this guy. The stuff he plays, or he played, he passed away a few years ago, but it's just inhuman, very alien-like, that no one will ever be able to do. But yeah, I definitely thought that was funny when I first started taking jazz guitar lessons when I was still some, ratty looking metal kid looking like Eddie Munson, just walking in there to some jazz guitar teacher, and it was like, oh, can you teach me to play like Alan Holdsworth? And they probably just like, dude, this kid is crazy. Why is this metal kid coming in here asking to play Alan Holdsworth? Like, what is wrong with him?
You'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent, but yeah, those were definitely big influences when writing the Gold Necklace album.
Brandon,
I would say that was a tangent. I think that was all very appropriate.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if you and go for it, run as hard as you can.
You definitely answered that question very well. So
okay, cool. Glad I wasn't rambling and getting too out there and boring the people
Not
who
at
are
all.
listening to this podcast right now.
Very
that-
informative.
I was gonna say, how dare you speak on the podcast where people showed up to
In
listen to you
depth. How
speak?
dare you go that far in depth into something you're interested in?
Details. Why are you giving us details? What the
I-
heck? We
Right.
I feel like this more so stems from like when people ask me about just like anything having to do with guitar or my playing in general, even if they're not, guitar players or know anything about guitar, which obviously probably people who are listening to this are going to know a lot of these people I'm talking about. I just go off on tangents like this and get like looks from people like I have no idea what you're talking about. But, like, right on, dude. Okay.
Dude, it's cool, man. I mean, you gotta be passionate, bro. That's what it's all about.
I mean,
Kind of like we were talking about Jonathan earlier. You gotta
I
love
mean,
what you do.
We're on a podcast for a very niche like genre of music, so I think it's kind of like par for the course for sure. So
Yeah, this is one of the few appropriate times that me going off on tangents about all this like obscure music and people will actually be able to appreciate it and not have
Absolutely.
zero idea of what I'm talking about.
that, and we really want to talk about your new guitar that you got out and your own signature model with the Kiesel. And like you got people ordering your guitar. I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. We want you to talk about guitar. You're a guitarist. Talk about guitar.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's not technically a signature model, but if you guys are familiar with Kiesel's business style, it's all custom order. And so obviously I have a ton of custom guitars from them. And I sometimes see people ordering guitars based off my guitar. It's not essentially a signature guitar, but people ordering a guitar, basically a replica of mine because they're a fan of my guitar playing. I mean, it's crazy and flattering, and I don't know why anyone would ever want to have a guitar like me, but it's freaking cool. And,
I mean, do you want to break down your guitar real quick for people who might want to copy your guitar from this?
I mean, the thing is, which one? I have a lot of guitars. I'm not sure if you can see
What's your go-to?
back there at all. These are just a few of them.
What's your go-to? What's the one that people seem to be copying the most, I guess?
The white and gold.
Yeah, well, almost all my guitars are white and gold, but probably this one
All
right
right.
here. This is a model from Kiesel called the Delos. It's, as you can see, like a Strat style guitar. Let me make sure I'm getting it in the frame. As you can see, it's white and gold, as are most of my guitars. That's just an aesthetic that I've always loved for some reason. And like I said, Kiesel is a custom, guitar maker, and there's so many options of crazy finishes and woods and stuff I can put on guitars. But when I first started trying to like spec out custom guitars, for some reason I felt a bit ridiculous going with something somewhat plain like this when there's so many like crazy woods and stuff I can use. But I was never able to, figure out something with all these crazy finishes and stuff that I actually liked, and I ended up just ordering all my guitars almost exactly the same finish wise. They're all just white and gold. So this guitar in particular I used to record Vibe With Me on. Are any of you three guitar players?
Yeah, I play a little bit, yeah.
I own guitars, but calling myself a guitar player would be kind of silly. I'm capable of making noise come out of a guitar.
I'm very
I feel-
I've been playing for a long time, but I would say I'm very mediocre at it. But
Okay,
I
this is just
confident saying I'm a guitarist. I feel very confident saying I'm a guitarist.
awesome. Awesome, because this is like one of those things like I just touched on before that I don't want to go off on a tangent on, and you guys just have no
it's
idea
all
what the
good.
hell I'm
Like
talking about.
I understand the gear side of it for sure, so
Yeah.
you're good.
I want to hear you go on a tangent about it because I want to learn more about this damn instrument.
Okay, so my favorite sound on this guitar, and like I said, I recorded the entirety of Vibe With Me on, was this second position, like bridge and middle single coil, which is like a very popular Strat type of tone, which on this particular guitar just sounds incredible. For some reason, obviously not for some reason, but most Strats usually have 3 single coils instead of the humbucker 2 single coil configuration.
Yeah.
And having it a split humbucker in the middle single coil gives a bit of a different tone that I just loved, and that's the entirety of the guitars that buy with me. So more to the spec. So this is a white finish, obviously, an alder body. Not sure if you guys can see this neck very well, but it's a roasted flint maple neck that just looks insane.
That does look really nice from here.
Got some tiger straps going on there.
What's that?
Got some tiger straps going on there.
Oh yeah, lots of flame going on in this thing, and
Really,
then
really gorgeous.
a matching fretboard. And I'm not sure the camera will be able to pick this up, but actually the frets are gold as well, not actual gold, just a gold alloy.
Good, yeah.
You know what you're missing? You need
What's that?
gold-colored strings.
I need gold strings.
Yeah.
You gotta get like a deal. You gotta get a deal with like, I don't know, whichever brand it is you use. What do you use, strings?
I use Elixir Strings.
My man!
Not so it's funny. I used to be a huge hater of Elixir because I think I was just a little bitch. And Elixirs, because they're a coated string, they have slightly more tension than the equal gauge from another brand. Like I use 10s, and if you get 10s from another brand that's not coated, they have slightly less tension to them because they don't have a coating on it. And I used to just hate that extra tension that they added to the strings and hated on them because of that. But then, I got tired of having to change my strings all the time.
That's exactly why I started playing Elixir, because I wanted something that A, didn't hurt my hands because I'm a baby and have weak hands. B, I have several instruments, and having to change strings just kind of makes me want to shoot myself. So.
Oh, same here. Yeah, I have a ton of guitars, and having my strings go dead so quickly, especially on guitars I don't pick up super regularly, but I want to be able to pick it up and it feel nice and sound good. And Elixirs are really the only strings that's possible with. Like I said, they're coated, so they last so long. Which, going off on another side note about Elixirs, when I was on that Hail the Sun tour, the one that we launched Gold Necklace with, I didn't change my strings a single time on that entire 6-week tour. And like the third to last date, my buddy August, who was the guitar tech for Hail the Sun, he also plays bass for Keo Nashi.
Oh, nice.
He was changing Hail the Sun strings pretty damn regularly. It was like the third to last show, I think it was. And I gave him my guitar. I was like, hey, how do these strings feel? And he's like, oh yeah, these things feel great. They feel like new. I was like, okay, cool, because I haven't changed them a single time this entire tour. And he's like, no way.
What kind of faith did he give you when he said that?
He was just surprised. I mean, like I said, especially he was changing out Shane and Eric's guitar strings pretty regularly, and was just shocked that I told him I hadn't changed my strings a single time that entire tour. It was just incredible. Like I said, once I got used to the slightly more tension that Elixirs have versus another brand of string with the same gauges, there is no going back for me, because they sound new for so long, which is especially nice when recording, because if you're using another brand of string, like after a single day of recording, they can go dead. You just have to change your strings like every single day, but I can use these for weeks and they still sound brand new and sound great on recording, and they feel brand new for months. And yeah, I can't go back to another brand string after getting used to these Elixirs. They're the best.
Elixir Strings is not sponsoring you. They should, because you're a very good spokesperson for these.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I'm actually not endorsing them. Not because they're not interested. I've just never talked to anyone from them.
Well, they definitely should after this, because you speak so eloquently upon them. I wanted a pair of Elixir Strings now for my acoustic guitar that sits at my house and I practice on sometimes.
I can vouch, Elixir Strings the best. Literally, I stand by this.
I mean, especially for people who don't like pick up their guitar super often. Like, let's say any of you guys who, just occasionally pick up their guitar and play every once in a while for fun.
Mhm.
You can do that and your strings won't be dead every time you pick up your guitar, which is awesome. Like I said, that's kind of the case for me with guitars that I only play every once in a while. I probably have like 20 something guitars. And so to have guitars that I don't play all the time, be able to pick them up like after not playing them for months and it still feel and sound like the strings are basically brand new is incredible. Because if I pick up the guitar and the strings are dead, I'm just gonna put it back on the rack and not want to play it.
Cannot be. My issue is that like I have 4 guitars, but I only really record with one of them, which is my PRS.
Yeah.
I record with that one. I play with that one basically every day. But like my bass, my other guitars, which are all in like weird open this town needs guns tunings. So like, might play them once that month, maybe. So it's just the PRS unless I'm recording. So
Exactly.
coming back to an open tuning and having it all be dead, just it's soul crushing.
I know that's literally the worst feeling ever when you just get that urge to play on some random cool guitar that you have in your collection and then you get all excited for it and then you go to pick it up and the strings are all dead and disgusting and you're just like,
Right.
I'm not changing these strings, put it back on the rack for another few months. And then you pick it up again a few months later because you forgot the strings are all dead on it. And then the same thing will happen until you stop being lazy and
And the
eventually change
cycle
the
begins
strings.
anew.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you have Elixir strings on it, and then just feel good
That's
all the
forever.
time. Exactly.
Elixir
Feel
strings
good
have,
all
like,
the time.
The cool thing about Elixir strings too is because of the coating, they feel really nice to play. Like again, once you get past that tension, they're really like the slides don't rip the tips of my fingers off, which really comes in handy on bass. I actually had a good conversation about Elixir strings with Tim Furyk once, rest in peace. He was an Elixir guy too, so like that was kind of a good little bonding moment.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
I
They're
think
the
they have
best.
like the Elixir tone too. I think is just really comfy, for me at least.
For sure. You never get that. I mean, I think some people like it, but I always hated this. Like right when you put on a brand new set of strings from like a normal non-coated string, it's just overly bright in my opinion and almost harsh sounding. Like I like normal strings, like a couple days, a little bit played in.
Yeah.
So they're not just like super bright in your face. Because obviously, like my guitar tone is pretty like warm, smooth sounding stuff, and I hate really bright, harsh strings. But Elixirs just sound like that perfect, like broken in guitar string for months. It's amazing.
I think you join a very elite group, Brandon, of people that have talked about their like guitars on the show. I believe Thomas Arak, when he was on, he definitely was very happy with his guitar that episode. He was playing it the whole episode and he was just discussing the hell out of it. I don't recall any of the information of the guitar.
Well, let's talk about his pedals, which
Yeah, that too.
Who is the guy who made his pedal?
You're talking about Philip Warren of CMC Guitar and Effects. Yeah, he made the Tom pedal.
I need to get one of those pedals one of these days. That thing is so fucking cool.
Oh yeah, triple octave manipulator. Like that's pretty. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
He makes them custom too. So like, if you ever need something like that, we're supposed to have standards on here, and he had there was a pedal dude that I met at the show. I met standards at. And I know Swim Gustavo talked about their guitars and stuff like that.
I think they just played them. I don't think they actually talked about them, but I don't know. That was like years ago.
It's been a minute, yeah. But I mean, I love hearing about guitars because I always wanted to be better than I am at guitar. So like I sit here and try to absorb through osmosis as much information as I can to be like, yeah, I'm learning from the greats.
Oh, man.
Information does not compare to actually playing all the time.
Yeah. But I mean, I know people are gonna appreciate Gear Talk. Gear Talk, like the people who wanted to hear about Gear Talk, like they fucking love Gear Talk for sure.
Man, if you guys want to hear guitar talk, like I said, I have a lot of guitars and can go on for a long
Yeah,
time, just talking
what all
about my
do you
guitars.
have sitting back there? I see quite a few just on that rack alone. I'm sure you got more. Like, you should,
Yeah, these
you
are
should give
just
us a rundown of some of them.
these are just all the ones I could. I'm not sure if you can see them really at all. That I can have out. That I have room for on my guitar racks. I have a considerable amount also piled up in cases in my closet too. It's a bit of a problem, but I will. I'll show you guys a couple other guitars that like I play live a lot and use to like record with.
That's
I'm
handy.
Alright.
sure you guys have probably seen this one.
Those
I play
pickups.
this one
Those are-
probably the most out of all my guitars. This is another Kiesel guitar. Very similar specs to my other one. But this one has a chambered body, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that is. So basically it has a separate top wood and body wood. In the
Mhm.
body wood, there's little pockets chambered out, essentially routed out of the guitar before the top is glued on, which lightens the weight a little bit and adds a certain airiness to the tone that I love a lot. And it features these pickups in it that actually I helped design these pickups with Kiesel. They're called the Beryllium Humbuckers. The tone that I use, basically the entirety of me when I'm playing live, is actually these two humbuckers split into single coils in series versus parallel, which what that means is it basically takes a single coil from each of these and almost turns it into some like quasi humbucker type thing, which has a really, really unique sound. And I used it on most of the Gold Necklace album. And I mean, I just love it. It's my favorite sound whenever I play other pickups that don't have this sound. I am, kind of bummed because this is, just my sound that I love and am very comfortable with. So yeah, I'm probably getting into weird nerdy details, but I hope there's a few people out there who
I'm
know
sure
what I'm
that
talking
you
about
will
and can
appreciate
enjoy
it.
this.
I'm here for this. You kidding me?
I'm appreciating this right now. I'm full of appreciation right now.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. So I guess I'll go into some more details about this guitar. Frets, it has the gold frets again, of course, and they're jumbo size frets. So if you don't know what that means, it's the height of the frets. And so when you're playing, you feel less of the fingerboard under your finger, which is, just makes things a little bit smoother when playing. And yeah, I like jumbo frets a lot. And it has a 14-inch radius, which is the curvature of the fretboard, which is pretty flat in terms of, popular style guitars that you'd usually come across. Like a Strat is usually like a 9.5. And so how radius works is the smaller the number, the more round it is. Like a 9.5-inch radius would be like, the radius is of a circle. So it'd be really pretty round, which is a 14 is going to be a bit, flatter, which would be a smaller circle. So yeah, having a flatter fretboard, makes bends a bit easier because there's less curvature to the fingerboard and makes chording really comfortable. And then I have, like on most of my guitars, I have a floating trem on that, which I never use really, like an actual tremolo arm with it. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it at all, but I do most of my trem stuff just with the palm of my hand. Just gives it some nice vibrato that isn't really possible without a trem because I use lots of open strings in my chord voicings and stuff. And obviously you can't vibrato an open string. So having a tremolo on the guitar, makes it possible for me to give my chords and stuff some nice even vibrato without, not being able to do it at all. So yeah, this is the guitar I used for most of the Gold Necklace shows and recorded a lot of the album with this one. And this one's probably my #1 guitar in my collection.
It's a
It's
handsome
very
beauty.
shiny on the video right now. It's like
It's glowing. type of
Reflect,
guy.
yeah. It's like reflecting light really heavy right now.
Creole. It's like the gates of heaven have opened, and this is like
Yeah.
Valhalla.
We're
I
not
feel-
worthy. We're not worthy.
Definitely that guitar in Wayne's World. They don't want you playing Stairway to Heaven on. Like it's
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah, this is the no steroid guitar. But you bringing up how it's like glowing like heaven is another reason why I like white guitars, because
Just
a
reflects.
lot of other colors when playing live, like under perfect lighting, they look really cool. But like when stage lighting isn't the best, they end up just looking like black because it's dark and you can't really see the finish very well. But the white will always look awesome no matter what lighting you're under.
Whenever I perform, like I like performing on stage, wearing white is one of the best things you can do, because when the lighting is good, it does reflect off you very well, and it creates a lot of cool pictures. Like it's cool to wear light colors because you can get all that reflection and stuff.
Yeah, Ryan likes to dress up like Beetlejuice when he performs.
Hell yeah. Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah, so like I said, this is like my number one guitar. I don't know.
So
I love
I
this
have
guitar a lot.
I have a question. What was like I don't know if it's still in your collection, but what was your like first guitar ever? Like what was the first thing that you ever played on, learned on maybe?
I still have it. It's in my garage right now. But it was just this old nylon string that my older brother had just lying around in his closet. And actually I got that guitar after one of my cousins came over. It was like a family parties, like some holiday or birthday party or something, and picked up one of my brother's guitars. And this was right after I'd seen School of Rock for the first time.
Yeah.
He showed me how to play Smoke on the Water.
Yeah.
Of course, the typical first guitar riff that everyone learns.
Yeah.
After that, I was hooked. I was like, I need a guitar. Like, I want to just play all the time. And obviously, my older brother didn't want me like really playing on all his guitars, so he just had this random shitty classical guitar in his closet that he gave to me, and I played on that thing for a little bit, and then I got my first electric guitar, which was like this knockoff SG type thing. Because also one of my big first influences was AC/DC and Angus Young. I still have that guitar actually. That is also in my garage, just tucked away in the corner. And then my first nice guitar I ever got was I drained my savings I started playing guitar when I was 10, probably when I was like 11, probably a year and a half into it. I drained my savings and bought an actual Gibson SG, which was my first like really nice, cool guitar. It was a red SG, kind of similar to Angus Young's guitar.
Nice.
And I stupidly sold that one, and I regret it so much and kick myself for it all the time. But when I got into high school and was playing, like I said, more metal type music and got super into gear, obviously when you're in high school, I was probably 14, 15 at the time. I didn't have a job. I had no way of buying new gear besides telling what gear I had on Craigslist. And I sold that guitar on Craigslist like an idiot. And I don't have that guitar anymore. But I did recently, about a year ago, bought a couple SGs just because I got really nostalgic for that guitar that I sold stupidly. And actually, let me show you guys one of those. I bet you guys can't guess the color scheme on it.
Oh, red and black,
I
right?
wonder. Neon green.
Oh,
Neon
okay.
Green and orange.
I got this SG almost a year ago.
All
That's
right.
amazing. Wait, are those P90s?
They're P90s, yep.
Hell yeah.
This guitar didn't start its life off as white and gold. It was actually had chrome hardware and a black pick guard. But I found this on Craigslist for an awesome deal. And it had, the bass I needed. It was a satin white guitar. So I was like, I can just swap out the rest of those parts and make it white and gold. And so that's what I did. I think I was just feeling really nostalgic and kind of bummed out that I had sold my
that one.
my
Yeah.
first Gibson SG. That was the first guitar I ever bought with my own money. It's the first nice guitar I ever owned.
Yeah.
And I wanted to experiment with P90s as well. That's the type of pickups around here. And so I came across this on Craigslist. And yeah, this is an awesome guitar. I love it a lot. It makes me feel like I'm 11 years old again.
I said the P90s, like I've got a Gresh Streamliner, and those things sound fucking beautiful.
Yeah, they're just like a really cool, cross between like a humbucker and a single coil. They're really fat like a humbucker, but have lots of clarity and bright top end like a single coil.
Yeah.
I like these pickups a lot. Actually, what I was telling you, I do with my main guitar, that pickup setting I use the most kind of gives me almost like a quasi like P90 type of tone, which I like a lot. It's a really cool, unique guitar tone that I feel like doesn't get used enough. Not enough people play P90s, so I love them a lot. And yeah, I'm sure this guitar, I bought this after the Gold Necklace album came out, but I'm sure I'll probably use this a bit on the next album.
Nice.
Really cool playing, unique sounding guitar.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you only because I know you're a guitarist by trade and you have tons of guitars. Do you own any other kinds of instruments? Like do you own like a little keyboard or a bass or anything else?
I mean, I own a couple basses. I've tracked all the bass for the Gold Necklace album.
Yeah.
And I also play bass for Chon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've also been playing bass for a long time. I mean, I have like random like MIDI keyboards. I'm very, my knowledge of piano is not nearly to the point where I'd like it to be, because I love, piano driven music.
Yeah.
But piano was actually the first instrument I ever started playing when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
My mom made me start taking piano lessons. And I did that for a couple of years, and it was okay, but I didn't really get that into it. And after a couple of years, I quit and realized piano wasn't the instrument I wanted to pursue. And I actually picked up drums right after that. I started playing drums for guitar because, like I said, my dad's a drummer. I gave that a shot for a few years, and I still actually play a lot of drums. I actually wrote a good amount of the drums on the Gold Necklace album. But then, like I said, those couple things that I saw when I was about 10 years old, School of Rock and John Mayer, I became infatuated with guitar. And as soon as I picked that up for the first time, I knew that was my thing.
The destiny.
That was the one.
That was the one.
Hell yeah.
So when are you gonna get the John Mayer Gold Necklace tour?
The Chon Who Gold Necklace tour?
As John Mayer and Gold Necklace tour.
Oh, I mean, I would do that tour I would lose money to go on that tour. I would love to
pay
tour
to
with John
go on.
Mayer.
That would be awesome, honestly.
He's so good live too. I've only seen him once, probably 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. It was right after his 2 albums ago came out, in Search for Everything, and it was one of the best live shows I've ever seen. He's an incredible guitar player. His band was incredible. Another one of my favorite guitar players was actually playing in his band. He's like an R&B guitar player named Isaiah Sharkey, and that's another massive influence on me and my guitar playing. I guess I didn't mention that earlier, but good segue to that John Mayer tour. Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
I would love to tour John Mayer. That's like a dream of mine.
So what you're saying is I need to make a poll or a meme that includes Gold Necklace and John Mayer in it. Dragon Ball Z.
And just manifest it,
into the world.
A John Mayer Gold Necklace tour. Just put it out there into the universe, and hopefully it'll happen one day.
I mean, it's possible. I mean,
I'll just tweet it right now. Let's just see what traction it gets.
Like, I would totally be down for like a Silk Sonic, John Mayer, Gold Necklace tour.
That too, yeah.
That would be. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, also a massive Silk Sonic fan. I'm not sure if you guys saw that meme I shared the other day where someone was like, gold necklace is Silk Sonic for white people.
Yeah, I did see that one.
I thought it was hilarious.
Definitely share that one on the podcast page on Facebook. I did share.
Yeah, that's where I saw.
Yeah, whoever made that one, that's amazing.
Blessed be the meme makers, man. There's a lot of good stuff out there that just brings a chuckle out every so often. Just like, wow, people are crazy.
Oh, for sure. It was funny after, like, right after I shared that meme, the guy who made it, like, messaged me on the gold necklace page. He's like, "Oh, I just want to let you know, like, I didn't mean anything, like, offensive towards this. Like, it's just a joke. I love both of you guys." I was like, "No, dude, like, I totally understood that you were just kidding around. Like, we thought it was hilarious. Like, we didn't take any offense to it from it whatsoever." We still there? It looks like you're frozen for a second.
Yeah, I think Ryan froze up. All y'all are freezing up.
Am I alive?
You're breaking up for me. I don't know if I'm breaking up for you. We're all frozen. Yeah, it seems like it's all frozen for
We all froze up at once.
Hopefully it was just a Zoom thing and they just froze everyone and we're all good now because you guys are all good for me now.
Oh, maybe really just the entire world's frozen. Maybe it's just a glitch in the Matrix.
It's possible.
Brandon,
have you guys seen the new Matrix movie?
I have.
I haven't seen it because I love the original Matrix. Didn't really like the second two very much. But I heard this one was just horrible and couldn't bring myself to watch it.
I think the thing about the new Matrix is that, like, I thought it was kind of bad, but it intrigued me enough where I kind of hope that they make sequels to it because I kind of want to see where they're going with it.
So should I give it a shot and watch it, or is it just gonna like make me really sad?
I feel like you should look up how to watch it because I feel like there's like probably at least half an hour you can trim off of it. Like in the middle of it or something that's just not necessary. Like, I don't know. It's paced kind of weird and it's long and I mean
during this part.
Yeah, I mean, might as well just watch it. It's at least like it's kind of like crap, but like it's kind of entertaining. So
yeah, I mean, what a great review. I'm so interested in
it's kind of like it's like turn your brain. It's like unlike the other Matrix, you can turn your brain off. Well, yeah, you can turn your brain off for it and like probably have like a decent like watching experience for it.
Yeah. So watch it like
it's kind of like Eternals, where if you just turn your brain off, you kind of come away from it feeling like kind of smart.
So
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I liked Eternals better than a lot of other movies that have come up from Marvel lately.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that it was different and I kind of, but I also, I feel like the more I think about it, the worse it gets.
Like,
but like I thought
that's kind of like really... the sequels, Star Wars movies. Like the more you think about them, like the worse and worse they get.
Yeah. Like, why did all the characters have so much character development in The Force Awakens, and then in The Last Jedi, everybody takes a back seat to all these characters that die in this one movie?
The Force Awakens sucks, but we're not getting into this.
Oh man, we need to. I am a huge Star Wars fan, so if you guys want to get into like Star Wars debates, I'm all for it.
Oh man, I do not want to get into Star Wars debate with Ryan right now. It's like there are two things I do not want to talk about with Ryan. It's fast food burgers and Star Wars.
First off, BurgerFi's the winner. Second off, what's worse, the prequels or the prequels or the sequels?
I mean, you're probably going to judge me super hard right now, but I love the prequels, hate the sequels.
Yeah. I was actually a big fan of Revenge of the Sith, to be honest. I like that one.
I think the prequels, in terms of the three of them, I think the first, Phantom Menace and the Revenge of the Sith are great. I feel like...
I wouldn't say Phantom Menace is great, but it's definitely...
Yeah, Clone Wars needs like an hour cut out of it, because there's a lot of...
Clone Wars is bad. That's like I fall asleep during the Attack of the Clones all the time.
Yeah,
And every time,
Attack of the
like
Clones.
half the time I watched it, I fall asleep during it. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith is fine. Phantom Menace is, I don't know.
I just
It's
like
all right.
Anakin. His story from the first one to the sixth one, you know, Return of the Jedi, like just the whole character development of Darth Vader is very handled well. I
It's
feel.
cohesive.
Also, I fuck hard with Solo.
All right, I'm about to like probably like offend like you guys and a lot of other people. I love Attack of the Clones, but I will admit when I was a kid, I would watch that movie over and over again and would just fast forward to all of the lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just
fair.
like skip around the movie. I don't know how old I was when that came out. When did that come out? Like 2000, 2001. I was born 94, so I was like 7 or something like that, probably.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I would literally just fast forward through
I think it
all the
was
lightsaber battles.
2003 because I think the third one came out in 2005, and then Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront came out in 04, I think. But the first one at least, but not totally sure.
The way you watch Star Wars is how I watched Godzilla movies as a kid, because I'd always just fast forward to the monster parts where they're fighting.
I mean, you couldn't understand what they're saying anyways, right?
Dubbed in English. I didn't want to see humans talking. I wanted to see monsters fighting, or as Brandon wanted to see Jedis and Siths fighting with lightsabers.
Do y'all remember early Netflix, like before it is what it is now, like
Back
in
when they
2008?
You order the
Back when they still
DVDs.
mailed you DVDs.
Or you order the DVDs, but they also had some stuff on streaming, like you could stream at the time. Like, cause I remember my grandma had Netflix for whenever we'd go over to her house, and she'd be like, "Yeah, just tell me what DVD you want us to order before you come over." We always forget, and so we just watched like whatever they had on streaming at the time, which was like really like weird. Like it was like obviously the documentaries got pretty big in like 2010 or whatever. Like the weird shit they had on there, but they just had like random shit. Like I'd watch Godzilla versus Mothra on there all the time and stuff like that. It was like a really interesting selection back then for sure. Just like B movies and B documentaries.
I don't remember. I remember like when Netflix, I mean, it's still kind of a problem now. It's not so bad nowadays, but I just remember when Netflix just had movies that I've never heard of.
Exactly.
By, like, just India, you know, the Criterion collections, like most obscure hits, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I remember one time I watched a documentary on Kiss the band, and like it had there's no one from Kiss was in it. Like they didn't interview it. It was just like people talking about Kiss, and it wasn't even anyone like that famous either. It was like I don't think and like they'd have like little sound bites from it. And I watched that on like Netflix like once or whatever, like back in like 2008 or something.
Kiss
totally
roadie.
time.
I feel like I had almost the opposite experience to the first time I discovered that Netflix had a streaming service. It probably wasn't until I was like in high school. And my cousin had Netflix like on his PS3 or something like that. And I, for some reason, was under the impression that you could just watch almost any movie you wanted on there. And so when I got back home, I convinced my mom, like, oh, you need to like sign up for Netflix streaming. Because at that point, the DVD thing had kind of died down, which we did have back in the day. I was like, oh my gosh, Netflix has streaming. You need to sign up for it. There's like any movie you want. And then she like signed up for it. And then there's all these movies I was trying to find on it. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like I thought I could watch whatever I wanted on this.
I've been fooled.
That reminds me, like around that time, I remember my dad would just buy like the most random like tech shit all the time. And so like when like obviously Blu-ray DVD players were like a big deal, but around when they came out, they also had HD DVD players, but like obviously Blu-ray beat out the HD ones. And so my dad just bought like 5 HD DVD players and just put them all around the house and like gave them to people and shit like that because he got them all for cheap online or whatever.
What would they like? Was there special HD DVDs?
Yes, there are special HD DVDs, and it was like basically like a Blu-ray competitor, but that like immediately lost to Blu-ray. So
it's also like a point of dialogue in the movie Tropic Thunder, because it's like Blu-ray and HD-DVD came out like at the same time, and it basically came down to whatever the porno industry like backed, and Blu-ray was easy as hell because the PlayStation 3 was cheaper than a Blu-ray player, and most people bought PS3 for the Blu-ray player because it was like PS3 was like $300, a Blu-ray player was like 500. So coupled with that, that's why we had Blu-ray for a while, and I don't even think Blu-ray is that popular anymore. I think that's like a dying fad, just like with DVD.
the only person I know who still buys Blu-ray is my brother. So he also still buys VHS too. So
yeah. When my PlayStation worked, I liked having Blu-rays, but now my PlayStation doesn't work, and I just look at my Blu-rays. I'm like, nothing plays you.
Completely trash. Wait, do you have a PS3 or PS4?
I have a PS4, but my disk drive like busted on it for some reason. I don't know.
Is it one of the older ones?
I guess, but whatever reason it is causes an error, so I can't update my PlayStation 4, so it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
it's just like a big piece of plastic sitting
It's
there.
a big, yes, it's a very nice paperweight that connects to the internet. That's about it. It doesn't really do anything. I can't do anything. It sucks, but unfortunately, shit, man. I feel like we've rambled.
Yeah, we're really rambling now, aren't we?
We're not even on top. We're talking about Star
We're
Wars.
we totally diverted.
I feel like that was partially my fault. I definitely engaged probably a bit too much into the Star Wars conversation.
I would say
It's all good.
I would say good enough. Like god dang. I always enjoy these because sometimes they feel like a little like, you know, not every interview ends up being almost 2 hours long, and sometimes I feel bad because it's just like, shit, are we vibing right now? But I'm glad that we're all vibing here. I'm glad this came out great.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had a guest on here and you get like 30 minutes in and then just have like nothing left to talk about and it just gets real weird?
We've had
yeah, definitely.
We've had interviews where it's like 30, 45 minutes for us to like break the ice of casual conversation, where it's just kind of like, it kind of feels like that Chris Farley SNL skit where he's talking to Paul McCartney. He goes, "Remember when you were in the Beatles?"
There's this one time I interviewed someone, and like, it's not like they were bad to talk to, but like they answered everything really like well and concise and quickly, and so like I basically finished the interview in like an hour because they were just so good at answering. Like they were like a professional like PR person basically, and so I was like, I don't really have anything else to talk to you about. And like we ran through everything.
Well, I hope I wasn't too boring or needed too much ice breaking at the beginning of this. Hopefully, like people don't have to like skip like the first half an hour for this.
This was good.
The first half
good
hour
stuff
full of like bandlord. I think that's you got that's your I call that like maybe like a net or a hook, because that's what people come for. They want to hear about their favorite bands, and then as it moved on, it becomes
you know, progressive post-hardcore TMZ, right?
Yeah, the first half an hour was the only interesting stuff. Like the past however long we've been talking, people are just like, these fucking nerds talking about Star Wars. Like, I don't want to hear about this.
I don't know, man. I think there are gonna be some people who are ticked off by your hatred of the sequel, and they're gonna like come at you in your DMs, bro.
Oh man, I mean, while we're at it, let me offend some more people.
Oh boy,
Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite Star Wars movie of all time, behind Empire Strikes Back, which is probably gonna piss off some people.
Revenge of the Sith was my favorite of the prequels. That one was good. I don't care what it was.
Yeah, that was easily the best one.
I love that movie. I will watch that over A New Hope or Return of the Jedi. And now people are gonna like, you know,
straight up.
New Hope goes so fucking hard. That's like my favorite movie of all time, honestly.
This is the thing that's gonna like get people angry at me.
All right,
I need to turn off my social media for a while. I thought General Grievous was one of the coolest villains in Star Wars. Even if
He's like
has-
underutilized, but like he is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to argue with you. I mean, it's my second favorite Star Wars movie ever, so I agree with you on that.
I think that's
Okay,
like
but that moment where like he just raises his arms up and suddenly he has fucking 4 of them, like fucking Goro. It's like, wait, what? And they all have lightsabers. What?
George Lucas really like didn't like get a lot of mileage out of his villains, except for like Darth Vader. Everyone else like had like what 15 minutes of screen time, if that.
I mean,
Like Darth Maul, so they have to bring him back in the Clone Wars.
Exactly, and like Grievous, Count Dooku.
Boba Fett.
I mean, even Sidious like was barely in anything until like the third one. So
Also, speaking of Boba Fett, what is
Oh.
your guys' opinion of that show?
I haven't seen it.
I want to see it so bad, but every
Yeah.
time I get stuff, I get busy.
I hate it. Just an
You
FYI.
hate
I
Wow.
hated the show.
There's something you're gonna get some people hating on you now. I've heard nothing but good things. Dang.
Oh, I hated Boba Fett.
I've
They
heard like
made
some pretty
Boba
mixed
Fett
reviews, honestly.
a little bitch. Like he's supposed to be like the most badass feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. They don't really show that at all in any of the movies, and I was hoping they were doing this show. Like, all right, now they're gonna show why everyone says he's the most badass feared bounty hunter in the galaxy, and they did not. They just made him a little bitch.
They should do the prequel to like Boba Fett, like what he was doing before he fell in the Sarlacc, before like he gets recruited by Darth Vader. That's what they should do. That's like way more interesting. Even though I haven't seen the new Boba Fett show, so I don't even know if they did in it. But
They touched on early Boba Fett a little bit in the Clone Wars show and in the comics, but it's like a very little amount. I definitely would be down for, delving further into the origins of Boba Fett.
I think our hopes for a Boba Fett movie got kind of dashed when Solo underperformed.
yeah,
there was
which
a movie.
Solo was cool. Like doing a space spaghetti western. That shit was awesome. I mean, like conceptually,
I didn't
there's
like
definitely
Solo.
issues with it. I like it a lot. I like it, even though I think there are definitely problems with it. But I think I like the concept of it a lot, which I like. I can always like appreciate concepts. It's
For
like
sure.
really spaghetti western. Like that's like the most spaghetti western Star Wars they ever made.
Yeah, I definitely like concepts of the movie, and there's certain like things in the movie that I appreciated, but I feel like for me, it kind of ruined some of like the mysterious badassness of Han Solo. Like how he got the last name Solo, I thought was so dumb. Just some
Yeah, that
random
was kinda
Imperial
dumb.
officer. Oh, you have no last name? Oh, I'll call you Han Solo. It's like that bummed me
mean,
out so much. I was like,
there's-
that's so not cool. Like,
And there's so much weird stuff in it that's like trying to set up for other things that like, and they don't really do it very well. But like, I don't know. I just had like a lot of fun watching it though. So I'll forgive it for its trips, basically.
You're telling me it's one of those movies like The Matrix where you kind of just have to turn off your brain and just abandon.
No, I mean
logic.
I like Solo way more than I like. It's way better than that new Matrix movie. That new Matrix movie is like, I don't even know, man. It's like the new Matrix is like a straight up trip for sure. It's very meta.
I'm not gonna lie though, from like how much you've talked shit on the new Matrix, I am the most intrigued now to watch that movie than I have been for the entirety
The
of that
first
movie.
like 45 minutes is like a whole like meta thing on the original trilogy, Matrix trilogy. It's kind of weird, honestly, but it's like really interesting. That's the thing about it. It's like has interesting concepts, but like not really executed that well.
No,
For
now
sure.
you got me interested now.
It's like
now I wanna watch
interesting
it.
enough where you're like, and you want to see the sequels to it just to see where they go with it, basically.
Everybody loves a car crash, you know.
And
Man, we've gone off on a tangent. I feel like, I mean, we should probably at some point get back to somewhat band music related.
I mean, do you have any like I know you were talking about, we talked about Gold Necklace, but do you have anything new music coming out? Do you have anything new that people can look forward to in the near future, or is it all your stuff
Any
in the right?
touring plans or anything like that? Or
So I mean, this is still kind of on the DL, but there will be a Gold Necklace tour getting announced in the near future. A US tour that I'm really excited about. Then at the end of this year, Kurt and I are planning on starting up some new writing sessions again. I've already been writing again for a new album, just like coming up with bits of songs. I don't really have any full fleshed out songs yet, but that usually happens when Kurt and I start writing together. I take a bunch of pieces of songs I have and we sit there and flesh out entire songs together. So that'll probably happen at the end of this year. My goal is to have a new Gold Necklace album come out next summer, because I feel like our music in general and what I've been writing for a new album is just going to be a vibe for the summer. So I hope to be able to release an album like right at the beginning of summer is my goal. But we'll see what happens, because there's a lot that goes into writing an album and recording it and stuff. But that's the goal as of now.
We love seasonal music on here. We love like music that like vibes with the season.
Oh, me too. I love listening to like an album come out right before a season that just like perfectly like encapsulates like that season, and then I'm just listening to it for the entirety of that season. That's the best, and I want to do that for people with this next album. So fingers crossed we'll have a new album out early summer next year. And hopefully it's going to be tough because I want to tour with this band a lot more, because this tour coming up is going to be our first full US tour as officially Gold Necklace, even though like that Hail the Sun tour was like kind of a Gold Necklace tour. I want to tour a lot more, but I also want to get an album out by then, so we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah. So with that, I also wanted to touch on, I'm glad that all that Eternity Forever stuff like got situated, and you guys now have like, you get your piece of the pie on those stuff and everything. Like, it's awesome that it can be resolved and everybody can move forward and just kind of get away from all that.
Yeah, it feels nice to finally be getting some money off of that music, because that was, one of my first, really serious musical endeavors where I'm writing the music. And it was very discouraging when things, ended so poorly for that project. And then for years to just not be seeing any of that money from that was a huge bummer, but it definitely feels great that I'm finally going to be, seeing something come out of that. It's a really great feeling.
Yeah, I'm glad that all got situated, man. It's good to see, and like, if you could tour with like anybody besides John Mayer and Silk Sonic, like, maybe not on a realistic scale. I mean, it could be anybody besides, the usual suspects. Like, who would you like to go on tour with?
So, I mean, obviously Kurt and I have come from the scene of like kind of like post-hardcore proggy instrumental stuff. But we both have a huge love for R&B type music, and really want to expand into touring with bands more like solely in that scene, kind of broaden our audience base. So I really would love to tour with like, I don't know how familiar you guys are with like R&B music, but I'd love to tour with like Erykah Badu, or like I was talking about earlier, Robert Glasper, or even, I mean, I guess this isn't like straight up R&B, but I would love to tour with Thundercat. He's one of my favorite artists of all time.
That'd be cool.
I love a Gold Necklace Thundercat tour. Thundercat. Yeah, that's the freaking.
Yeah, those are all really awesome, like tour lines for sure. Like Erykah Badu and Gold Necklace would be awesome. I'd totally go see that.
Oh yeah, that would be freaking awesome. Or like even some more classic ones, like a Gold Necklace Shaka Khan tour.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
That would be so much fun.
Here's a little Easter egg for you guys, which was, I don't know if any of you guys picked up on it. I've had a couple people pick up on it from our album and mention it to me. But on I Felt It Too, if you listen to the first verse, just like the melody of that, it's like almost a Shaka Khan ripoff. Like, like
Um, for legal reasons. That's almost.
yeah, it's almost, and it was funny because it was, like I said, completely unintentional. But Kurt was down here in San Diego with me. We were demoing out, I think it was I Felt It Too and Vibe With Me, which was funny. Those are our two singles. I think we demoed out those two songs in the same writing session. And we were actually, stereotypical San Diego thing. We got lunch and went and hung out at the beach. On the way home, we were listening back to the demos that we were working on, just kind of like build up some more ideas. And Kurt's like, that melody line, like it sounds so familiar, like some Shaka Khan song that I heard as a kid, like can't remember what it is. And then we just we're digging through the Shaka Khan catalog and found it. We're like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. We're definitely keeping that.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the name of the Shaka Khan song? Do you remember?
The Shaka Khan song?
Yeah.
I feel so dumb for not remembering because it's one of their biggest hits. I'm gonna go look it up right now. I Feel For You.
I Feel For You. All right.
Which is funny because the song is called I Felt It Too. Which that was also completely unintentional.
Yeah. I feel like Kurt
very Freudian.
I feel like Kurt brought that to our attention. He goes, sometimes like, people like think that you copy and stuff, but sometimes it's kind of like buried in your head and you'll like realize after the fact, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like so with that, Kurt was like, when we found the song, because he couldn't even remember what the song was either. And we were just digging through Shaka Khan songs, and then we found the melody. He's like, dude, that song, my mom would listen to this R&B radio station when I was a little kid, and that song would be played on that all the time. Like, it's so weird that it just kind of came out through my subconscious into the Gold Necklace song. But
worked out.
I was about to play it for a second, but I was like, it's going to get the video copyright strike, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, that's the song. Wait till it picks up to the first verse. Listen to that melody line, then go listen to the first verse of I Felt It Too. Yeah. And you'll be like, holy shit, that's like...
Holy shit.
Clever little guy. Yeah, I like it.
The funny
I mean, if you and Shaka Khan ever tour together, y'all can just like do a mashup, right?
Yeah, we can just like do an I Felt It Too and I Feel For You, like
just transition each other's sets into each other.
Well, it's funny.
What would it be? Would it be I Felt For You? Would that be what we would call it?
Yeah.
It almost like I Felt For You, I Feel It Too, and they have that similar sound. I almost feels like you accidentally wrote a sequel to that song.
I mean, kind of.
The motifs.
That'd probably be blasphemous to like people who like Shaka Khan. They're like, dude, why is this guy playing like way too many notes on guitar on this song?
The devout Shaka Khan fans are coming for you, Brandon. They're coming.
But that would also be, that'd be so sick. But
yeah,
we really just wanted to like hop on a tour with, just like a straight up R&B band, like those few bands I mentioned, to, expand our audience, because I feel like our sound definitely appeals to people who like that, and could also potentially expand people who are really into post-hardcore stuff, and like Kurt and I, for previous stuff we've done within that scene, could expand their mind to a lot of awesome R&B music out there.
I mean, how busy are Boys to Men right now? I mean, come on.
Dude, I'm so down for a Boys to Men tour.
That'd be sick. I'm just saying.
So down. But yeah, that's
that would be.
Hopefully now, once we build up this project a bit more, we can get to the level where we can hop on a tour like that, and make that happen, because that's definitely a dream of both Kurt and I to get
Like,
on some
like
tours, some big name classic R&B acts like that.
TLC.
you'll see. I mean, minus Left Eye, unfortunately,
Waterfall.
or rest in peace. But
What's cool about our music is I feel, I mean, at least in my opinion, that we can tour with so many different types of bands and not be
Absolutely.
out of place on those tours. Like we can do the post-hardcore tours, like that Hail the Sun tour, for example. I mean, Hail the Sun is much heavier than us. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Keonachi, but they're like, you know, really heavy, like hardcore type band. I feel like we could play on tours like that and also not be out of place, and we can play on like, you know, more instrumental type bands. Like we could hop on like a, I don't know, Polyphia tour or Animals as Leaders or something like that. Plenty.
I would kill to see that. You guys opening for Polyphia. Just
Yeah.
get like Find Yourself from Sacramento. Just open up for that. And that'd be perfect.
Start killing Yuri. Get him on that tour.
Yeah, so that I would love to tour with Polyphia. I got a tour with them when I was playing with Chon, and they're all awesome dudes. I'm friends with all of them.
They're so cool.
That'd be an awesome tour to be on. So I feel like we can be on stuff like that. We can be on just like straight up R&B tours. So I feel like that potentially will hopefully open up some really cool touring opportunities for us in the future and get us on some really fun, interesting tours. And you know, well, it's fun for us too, because we don't have to continuously tour within one genre. We can go on one tour. It's like a post-hardcore tour, and then go on some progressive instrumental tour, and then R&B tour, and, you know, keep things interesting, you know, open us up to a huge fan base.
Here's what you need to do. You need to open for Pliny, because like you used his NDSP plugin.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, Plenty is awesome. Funnily enough, with him, I got to play a show with him once. Not me playing in his band, but when I was playing with Chon, we were on tour in Australia with Between the Buried and Me. Plenty actually opened up one of those shows, and those guys are all so nice and awesome and incredible. It's such an awesome live show. All great musicians. I'd love to tour with them.
There's definitely plenty of bands I'd love to see you tour with, like to see you go on tour with like Night Versus, or like maybe even like Adventure, Properties of Nature, or shit, man. Like also be cool to see you go on tour with Dredge. You ever listen to Dredge?
I've heard the name, and I'm sure I've heard their music, but I couldn't tell you like a single song from them.
That's completely fine. That's like early 2000s stuff, so that's all good. But they have a song called Morning This Morning, which has that kind of like jazzy, funky, like
That song is so good.
yeah, it's got a really good vibe. And I was listening to it, and it was like after listening to Gold Necklace, so it was just like, wow, I'm digging this vibe and I'm digging that vibe. So I don't know. I hear they're like coming back. So I mean, any tour that has Gold Necklace on it would just be a good tour, I think.
Oh yeah, all these bands I would love to tour with. I feel like right now we're kind of coming to that crossroads where we're gonna have to decide between, you know, trying to get on tours with all these cool bands like we were just talking about, or finishing another album and putting that out and waiting, like, you know, until after that is done to really go hard on more touring. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, of course. And we don't want to pull your leg and try to like force any like answers. Like, come on, man, tell us when's the tour? When's the album?
But
unless you want us
something
to.
for sure. There's a tour. There's a tour happening sometime in the next few months. That should be getting announced soon. That's still kind of on the DL, but that's for sure happening. You guys will see that getting announced here shortly. That's
The most exclusive. All right.
All right. So for everyone to have gotten that exclusive, they've had to endure 2 hours and like 10 minutes of like interview. So it's good.
They're like, they're all they want to know is when the next Gold Necklace tour is, and they're just like had to wait through all this talk about Star Wars and the Matrix like sequel to find it.
If they waited this long to hear that, they deserve to hear it. They're true fans.
They deserve, exactly. They earned it.
So all three of you who have stayed on for, you know, all 2+ hours, yeah, there you go.
Hey,
That's your reward for listening to all of my nonsense.
It doesn't like count against us if they like stop halfway through. It's not a half listen; it's a full listen if they listen to it.
Yeah, it still counts as one play.
Still counts with it if you drop off after 10 minutes. So,
But you're probably like 3 people. It's probably like 2 of them are my mom and dad, and then probably the third one's probably my wife.
There's a
You already
fourth
know
one.
about this tour anyways.
they should
so-
stick around and listen to more of our stuff. We have a huge back catalog at this point. So,
I was
As
gonna
I'm
say,
sure
there's a fourth
also-
person who's gonna watch this. My guitarist, my bandmate.
Hey. I think the only thing we can take away from this interview is we're all a little curious what that Matrix movie is like now. That brand new Matrix. I'm one.
My dad,
platform.
whenever there's a movie he's telling me about, he is the worst with just like telling me the entire plot for the movie. I'm just like, Dad, like I don't have to watch the movie anymore. You just told me what happened to try to
if I
convince me
could
to
tell
watch
you
this
the
movie.
entire plot of that movie, like, I don't think I could even like figure out what the plot was. What is I can't think of what the plot was to that movie at this point.
It sounds meta.
It's very meta. Yeah, the first 45 minutes is meta, and then it's like I don't even it's like time jump or whatever. I don't know, man.
Movie now, dang, you making this movie sound like it's like the most like
It's
complex.
weird. There's so much stuff happening in it. Like I haven't even scratched the surface.
Now I gotta go get my HBO Max subscription and go watch it.
Morpheus, man, like
I mean, I honestly don't think I really have much going on the rest of the day. I might just have to watch this movie after this.
it is like 3 hours long too. So
I think after 2 hours and about 15 minutes, I think we've probably stolen enough of your precious time today, Brandon.
we're getting to Matrix length right now, so but not quite.
Oh, dude, it's been so much fun. You guys haven't stolen my time at all. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
I enjoy these. I enjoy episodes that they can casually get up to this like level because like most of the time, you know, it's usually an hour 15 minutes. But like if the time can just fly, I'm just like shit. That was a good ass conversation.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I think this is about Kurt Travis when he first showed up. He was here for like this long. He just chilled out and
Yeah.
like, I think Andrew Wells has the record.
I was 3.5 hours.
Yeah, Andrew Wells was here for like 3.5 hours.
Oh man.
Well, we're like 10 minutes short of the length of Matrix Resurrections. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes.
So to all of you who have still stuck around through this, why did you waste so much time? You could have been watching the new Matrix this whole time.
Exactly. Because that is a 5.7 rating on IMDb, and this is probably a 4.7. So
Hey, you know what? If they stuck around this long, they chose Brandon Ewing over the Matrix. So to these people, you're more.
I feel touched, but you made a mistake.
You know what? Don't listen to this. Don't watch the new Matrix. Go listen to Gold Necklace. What, like 5 times?
That would be
Our album's only like 38 minutes.
So
Yeah,
like,
5 times. So listen to it 10 times, and you get this whole interview plus Matrix Resurrections. And like it's way better quality too. So
I think the plot of the Gold Necklace album is a little more coherent than the Matrix trilogy and its new sequel.
Oh yeah, I'd probably be willing to agree with that. Even
my
though there's
God.
like no theme in our music at all, but it's still probably more cohesive.
I mean,
I'm just like thinking about this thing that they do in the Matrix, in the new Matrix, it's just so stupid that or whatever. You just gotta. I'm not gonna tell you more about the movie, but
You've already sold the ticket, Cash. The ticket is sold. I'm seeing the movie.
You've already told us the whole plot while you were at it too, so maybe we don't have to watch the movie. No, I'm just kidding.
Totally gonna ruin my life. But hell yeah, dude! Like if you ever want to come back, You ever
Come
wanna-
back after you finish watching the new Matrix, and we'll talk about it.
Okay,
We'll do
I'll
a
talk
whole-
to you guys tomorrow and let you know how upset I am that you guys convinced me to watch the new Matrix.
You gotta come back next time. We can go for like Lord of the Rings lengths.
Oh, dude, huge Lord of the Rings fan too. We can get on a Lord of the Rings tangent next time, and get this to like the extended cut version, like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We'll have like a whole brand new season, like Game of Thrones, just like the Brandon analyzes every Matrix. We'll have the whole series.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna pivot into that kind of pop culture podcast.
But hopefully it's not like Game of Thrones, as in we end just the worst way we could possibly end.
Right, just completely off the rails for no fucking reason.
It's
I
too
mean, if we're talking about the Matrix, I mean, the new one.
So we've jammed as much pulp culture into the end of this as we could.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Brandon, you are always welcome back. I'm massively appreciative of your time. If I'm ever out in San Diego, I'll hit you up. Maybe we'll grab a taco or something. Maybe go grab a beer. Who knows?
For sure, that sounds great. And if any of you guys can make it to any of the dates on this tour that's going to get announced soon,
Dude,
I'd love to hang out.
I'm
Yeah.
begging.
Oh yeah,
Would also love to
Matrix
come back.
Resurrections.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm next door to you. Cash is in Texas. Yuri, where do you live again?
I'm in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Yeah, you just moved. That's right. I was just like, wait.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm like living on my my bandmate's couch right now. So shout out to David Wilson for that.
yeah, hell yeah.
Right on.
And just being a really good dude and a really good musician.
Hell yeah. So yeah, if you have any dates in Pittsburgh, what part of Texas, Cash? You're in Dallas?
Dallas
Yeah, you're
for the
more
foreseeable future.
I'm
You're
pretty
like-
sure we're playing Dallas. That's like
Hope
a
so.
given.
I
I never
mean,
remember exactly what cities because we always play like 4 Texas shows, but probably playing Dallas.
like San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas.
Exactly.
I mean,
There's
if depending on how my transportation situation is, by the time y'all come around, I might go to a few shows because I mean that's what I usually try to do is like hit a bunch of
Nice.
shows because everything's like
I
3 or
like-
4 hours.
Yeah, I like buying shirts. Give you guys gas money, man. You guys need to get.
Exactly.
dude.
Exactly.
I appreciate you. Yeah, people don't understand the cost of gas that goes into a tour, let alone the cost of gas for a tour going on now. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like you pay out for that night. You have to choose between the gas tank and eating like, I don't know, half a tortilla that night.
I mean, it's usually a tough call. Sometimes you just go tortilla and have to walk to the next city, but it's usually
Yeah.
worth it.
Push the fucking man up the interstate.
Well,
Yeah, I'd make that choice too, honestly.
I'm
Tortilla.
hungry. I'm
All the way.
starved. It's
Me
lunchtime.
too.
Yeah, that sounds great. About to go get some food. Probably go get
Get
some
some
Mexican
food, watch some Matrix Resurrections. Yeah, it's a good Saturday.
and then just regret my entire day. Like, starting it off with this and then Matrix. Like, it can't
Oh
get
my
any worse than
gosh.
that. No, I'm just kidding.
How it is.
Oh, just kidding. But yeah, this has been so much fun. If you guys ever want me to get back on, if you guys ever get bored and can't find anyone else to get on one of these, I'd love to come back again and just talk about some nerdy stuff.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We love talking about nerdy stuff.
And if you want to do what Yuri's doing and just jump on an episode with us and just interview somebody, you can just act like you're like, Twitter boys and just interview whoever we got on, man. You're welcome to do that too.
It'd probably
Absolutely.
be like a lot less interviewing and me just like making stupid jokes the whole time. So I don't know if you guys would want me to just like ruin your podcast when you're trying to interview someone.
I mean, have you been present for this interview?
Brandon guy ruins it. I think that would be a great addition to the show.
Brandon guy ruins it.
Brandon guy ruins it.
That should be a thing where we dissect pop culture and movies and shit and get Brandon on foot. It just Brandon ruins everything.
I mean, it is true, so it would be fitting. I'm down.
I'm here for it. I like it. I'm all.
I can dig it.
Okay, I'll be in your DMs after this, Brandon. Let's make that happen.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Hell yeah.
I'm expecting that report on Matrix Resurrections on my desk by Monday morning, and so get to it, boys.
20-page report.
20 pages, one for every sin.
10 for every hour.
Yeah. But I think I speak for all of us when I say thanks again, Brandon, for your time. Thank you, Yuri. Go check out Hammern if you've never heard of Hammern or Gilded Wings Group. Yuri does great stuff with that. If you guys want to plug your social medias before we go.
I mean, you just plug mine, but yeah, I've got Hammern, I've got Gilded Wings Group on YouTube. I've got a link tree basically on anything you can think of. I've got Hammern. We've got a new record coming up soon. Soon being up in the air because I'm super broke right now, so kind of screwed up production. But yeah,
at least we got that Dance Gavin Dance Here Comes the Winter cover out. We got that out, so people want to check.
I'm very happy with that cover. I've also started doing K-pop covers apparently, so I don't know how I made that work.
Naturally.
You go from Dance Gavin Dance to K-pop. I mean,
that's kind of the normal progression.
Yeah. But Brandon, if you want to plug your social medias and where people can find you, internet.
Let us know if you're gonna do any K-pop covers too.
For sure. So yeah, this gold necklace tour I was talking about that's coming out, it's exclusively K-pop covers. If you want to hear any of our album or Eternity Forever songs, like I'm sorry to disappoint. I hope you like K-pop.
It's just a full half hour of nothing but Dreamcatcher covers.
But yeah, my socials on everything is usually just my name, Brandon Ewing, with an underscore at the end. The gold necklace socials is just gold necklace with a 0 for the O because just gold necklace was taking on everything else. So yeah, be sure to go check those out because like I said, there should be that tour getting announced here soon.
Hell yeah. I dig it, dude. And I'm very appreciative of everybody taking the time to listen. Thank you for listening to the Demo Team podcast. Cash, is there anything else that we need to talk about before we go?
Well, not till we watch The Matrix, but
unless I've watched The Matrix, there's nothing else we can talk about.
There's nothing else we can talk about. Yeah, either watch The Matrix or I'm not talking to you anymore.
I guess that's an easy decision. I guess I'm just not going to watch The Matrix now because maybe I don't want to talk to you.
So the next time Brandon comes on, we just do it without Cash.
He just ignores me the whole time.
You're there, but you're perpetually on mute.
Yep.
Just every time you speak, Brandon will stare like very intensely, like.
Literally just fucking 0_0 face.
Yeah. But without
right.
a doubt, thank you,
We're
everybody.
getting too goofy. Let's call this baby.
You can follow us at Demo Team Podcast. That's usually everywhere except Facebook. It's at the Demo Team Podcast because the is so important. Just like to the Mars Volta, you need that or you're gonna get sued.
It's all about the. Yeah, like, subscribe, leave a review. Also check out our partner podcast, the VI playlist with Augustine.
And thank you to our partners at Ghost Killer Entertainment for always being awesome and helping out and putting us on your website and sharing our stuff and just keeping us under that umbrella of Ghost Killer Entertainment. And go get some Elixir Strings. Yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
Moral of the story.
And Matrix Resurrections is available on HBO Max.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
get yourself a nice little sandwich at your local deli. Support delis.
All right, man. That was a weird one, but appreciate it, Ryan. All right.
You don't like delis? What? Like sandwiches? What? You too good for sandwiches?
All right. This is getting too goofy. Later.
Peace out, guys.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.